And it's wonderful to be here in front of so many friends and familiar faces. I'd like to just take a moment to acknowledge some special guests we have in the crowd. I understand Senator Marjorie Le Breton is here. And we also have one of our former Conservative candidates from Ottawa South, Alan Cutler, here as well. A round of applause for Alan. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Jeremy Roberts. Mike Lalonde, who I will be speaking about momentarily, was kind enough to invite me here today to join you and share a few words. A year and a half ago, I stood at this very spot and launched my own provincial Conservative nomination campaign. Like all candidates before their first political event, I woke up nervous and very paranoid the day of my campaign launch. I was convinced that no one would show up. My team wouldn't let me arrive at the event until 20 minutes after the start. They wanted me to have a bit of an entrance and, be slightly fashionably late. It was one of the longest 20 minutes of my life as I waited over at the Royal Oak across the street, imagining a room filled with 4 people, including my parents. Of course, just like Mike, today, I was proven wrong. Just like today, the room was very full. But as much as we would like to take personal credit for having throngs of adoring fans, the truth is far from it. The truth is that all of you are here today, not for me, or not for Mike, not for anyone. You're here today because you care about your community. You see our country going down a dangerous path of liberal waste and mismanagement, and you, as Conservatives, want to do your part to help. Whether you are federal Conservatives or provincial Conservatives, social Conservatives or fiscal Conservatives, or just good old-fashioned Tories, we all share a common belief in fighting for freedom, opportunity, and responsibility. We need to work together as a united community here in this riding to elect good Conservatives across Ottawa and send Mike Lalonde to Parliament Hill in October 2019. The main reason we are here today to celebrate the launch of Mike Lalonde's campaign to be your next Conservative Member of Parliament. When I first met Mike last summer, he asked me what the people of Ottawa West-Nepean look for in their politicians. I told him that in my experience, the people here want someone who share in the good old-fashioned values of hard work, service to the community, and respect for tradition. It hasn't taken me long to learn that Mike Lalonde also shares these values. Almost a week after we first met, Mike started knocking on doors, and suddenly my phone began to ring. Everyone in the riding wanted to ask me about the young lad who was running to be the federal Conservative candidate. Since then, Mike has moved at a pace that would make Usain Bolt look like a tortoise. Frankly, if I were Anita Vandenbelt, I would be very worried right about now. Beyond that, what has really struck me is Mike's devotion to fighting for veterans and soldiers. As a veteran himself, he has shown himself to be somebody who understands the value of service. Individuals like Mike should be commended for stepping forward to continue to serve their country in whatever way they can. I think that speaks volumes to Mike's character. We sleep soundly at night thanks to the brave sacrifices of men and women like Mike Lalonde. People will tell you that we won't win this riding, that Justin Trudeau is too tough to beat. Those people are taking you for fools. They think that by scaring you, they can cruise to victory on the back of voter apathy. But we know better. With hard work and persistence, we can win this riding, and Mike is the candidate to make that happen. And so today, I am pleased to provide my full endorsement to Mike Lalonde to be your next federal Conservative candidate here in Ottawa, West-Nepean. I look forward to working with Mike and with all of you to send Justin Trudeau on a permanent vacation in October 2019. I hear that India is beautiful that time of year. Without further ado, please join me in giving a warm round of applause and welcoming your next Member of Parliament, Mike Lalonde.
Well, thank you, Jeremy, very much for those kind words. They're greatly appreciated. And I also want to thank you for all of your helpful insight and advice that you provided to me and the campaign from day one. And I can tell you all with a straight face that we would not have come nearly as far, nearly as fast, were it not for Jeremy Roberts' sound advice and enthusiasm for my campaign. So thank you so very much for that. As you guys all know, Jeremy has worked very, very hard. He came a couple years before me, pounding the streets, winning over support, doing it the right way, grassroots engagement. And you have been a true inspiration to me. You've set the example, and I can only hope that I can follow in your footsteps and do as good of a job you have. So, as far as I'm concerned, Jeremy Roberts is the absolute best person to represent us provincially so that we can drive Bob Chiarelli out of town this summer. And so before I continue on too much further, I also wanted to thank very much Senator Marjorie Le Breton for being out here today. She has been a Conservative superhero. She has been there every step of the way, all the way from the years of John Diefenbaker up until and including today. She's been with us through the good times, seen us through the bad times. So thank you very much, Senator Le Breton, for all of your hard work and everything that you've done for us. There's a few other people that I want to introduce tonight too. So we have the pleasure of having a true Canadian hero in our presence today. Colin Saunders, as many of you might know, was the veteran who was responsible for organizing the large-scale protests that happened throughout the country and on Parliament Hill a couple of weeks ago. He's here today to show his support, so please give him a round of applause for all of his hard work. And thank you very much, Colin. And there's somebody else I wanted to introduce you guys here to today. There's another Conservative federal nomination candidate. He's running out in Kanata Carleton. He's come out today to show his support. His name is Alexander Osorio. He's a great guy, so if any of you are from that riding, I encourage you to talk to him today, and I think you'll be very happy with what he has to say. So thank you, Alexander, for coming out today. So I'm going to continue to follow my tradition of following Jeremy's very sound advice. He told me that I really needed to get up here and tell a story about myself, and I realized that I think that's probably a good idea, because when I came to a lot of your doors, I spent a lot of time talking about what's going wrong and what we needed to do about it and that sort of thing. And I didn't tend to talk too much about me because I just don't really like to do that. But I'm going to take this opportunity, indulge myself for a couple of minutes just to tell you a little bit about me. So my story started about 23 years ago when I was 17 years old. So on September 26, 1994, I joined the Canadian Army. And I swore an oath to defend Canada. I committed to service above self. And I always took great pride in the fact that I was serving a higher purpose and fighting for a cause. And that cause was Canada. Over the past 23 years, I have had the divine privilege of living in several Canadian cities, literally from coast to coast across Canada. So when people ask me where I'm from, I always say I'm from Canada, because I really am a child of this entire country. And so I've been really grateful for all the opportunities that the military has provided me in that regard. So this past summer, that chapter of my life came to a conclusion when I was medically discharged from the Canadian Armed Forces and on to a new chapter. And like many veterans, I suffered from mental illness. And it's not something that I really talked about publicly until just now, because it's not something that's the easiest thing to do. But in truth, it's something that had plagued me for the previous 4 years. And I found that the transition from from military to civilian life was really difficult. It was much harder than anything I ever could have imagined. And so I found myself in a situation where my body wasn't broken, it was largely intact, but my soul had literally been cracked in half. It was a difficult time for me. My life wasn't going well. I was slipping down a dark path. And then all that changed because one young man named John McDougall decided to send me a message out of nowhere. And his message changed my life. And it was a simple message. He just said, "Hey, Mike, can I interest you in running federally in Ottawa, West-Nepean?" And so my response was, "Hi, nice to meet you too," and because I really didn't know who this guy was at that point. And but John was really instrumental. He helped me to believe again. He taught me how to believe in myself again. So John's here today, and I just wanted to thank him. He's right over there hiding. But thank you very much, John McDougall. No matter what happens from this day forward, I will always owe you a debt of gratitude. So because of that, to make a long story short, I'm very proud to announce that I am recommitting myself to Canada today, and I am ready to serve again. My new mission is to serve the people of Ottawa, West-Nepean, and represent them well. But make no mistake about this, I am no politician. I am a retired soldier who is seeking political office, and those are two entirely different things. So as part of this new mission, I have had the luxury of coming across so many great people. I have literally had 113 different people volunteer to help my campaign to date, which was a truly overwhelming number of people who've shown their support to me. So thank you guys so very much for that. This campaign would not be where it is today without all those volunteers who put in tireless work and effort behind the scenes. And I wanted to make sure that I paid special thanks to one very special person in particular, and that's my girlfriend Marissa. She has been with me side by side every single step of the way. She has been an extremely valuable part of my campaign. I couldn't have done any of this without her, so thank you very much, Marissa, for all your hard work. And she's hiding somewhere because she doesn't like the public eye, but thank you very much, Marissa. So I think that this discussion is pretty timely because I really believe I am coming before you today under the most gravest of circumstances. Our freedom, our democracy, and our prosperity are now under direct attack by Justin Trudeau and his corrupt Liberal government. Justin Trudeau would have you believe that he's a compassionate man, that compassion is important to him. And he's so compassionate that when a Canadian war hero who lost his leg in Afghanistan confronted Justin Trudeau and asked him why he had broken his promises to veterans, Justin Trudeau replied, and he said, "I'm sorry, but you're asking for more than I am able to give." He literally looked him in the eye and said, "You're asking for more than I can give." Now, I wonder if Justin Trudeau has ever asked himself the following question: what would have happened if our Canadian soldiers and veterans throughout our entire illustrious history, all the way back from the Boer War to the First World War, the Second World War, the Korean War, peacekeeping operations, Afghanistan, Iraq, and Libya, what would have happened when our soldiers were called to duty and they turned around and said, "I'm sorry, Prime Minister, but you're asking for more than I am able to give"? What would have happened? What would our country look like today if our soldiers behaved the same way that Justin Trudeau has been behaving for his entire tenure in office. That is a problem. We have got to stop saying no to our veterans. The time has come to start saying yes when they come to us and tell us that they need help. It is incumbent upon our society to provide for them and fight for us the way they fought for, and fight for them the way they fought for us. And that's part of the reason why I'm here today, and it's to make sure that we get more members of Parliament in there to represent veterans, to make sure that this is an issue that doesn't go away, because after all, they have fought for our freedom, and they have sacrificed so much. And even despite all that fighting for our freedom, we find ourselves in a situation today where our freedom is under attack, not by a foreign nation or a hostile force, but by an ideology that doesn't seek to include everybody in our society. Thanks to Justin Trudeau, the Canadian government is now proactively discriminating against Canadian citizens that hold differing political or social views from that of the Liberal Party. And my friends, that is completely and utterly unacceptable, and it has to stop. Justin Trudeau's implementation of the attestation box on the Canada Summer Jobs Program means that several community groups that do really important work for our communities that are desperately needed are going without funding. And that means people in our community are going without the help that they need. And there are several organizations in Ottawa, West-Nepean that have reported to me that they have been declined for that very reason. Now, I don't know about you guys, but that doesn't sound very inclusive to me. So the thing I would say to Justin Trudeau on that front is not on my watch. Not on my watch. And you know, I've read through the document that his dad wrote, the Canadian Charter of Rights and Freedoms. I went through that exhaustively, and you know what? I couldn't find a single reference that says that Canadians had to submit to Justin Trudeau's politically correct ideology. I couldn't find that anywhere. But you know what I did find? What I found in black and white was an explicit guarantee of freedom of expression for all Canadians, not just the ones that Justin Trudeau agrees with. Now, as if that wasn't enough, our prosperity has also come under attack. Over the past summer, Justin Trudeau tried to sneak through tax changes that would have greatly impacted our small businesses, increasing their taxes. But worse than that, he justified it by calling our entrepreneurs, he called them a bunch of tax cheats. Never before have I seen a Canadian leader work so hard to pit Canadian against Canadian and drive a wedge between people, but I'm happy to say that it didn't work. People came together to reject that and say no to Justin Trudeau, and instead of penalizing our entrepreneurs, we ought to be providing incentives so that they can continue to grow, provide jobs to people, and develop our economy. And further to that point, Canadians are overtaxed. We are an overtaxed society. And Justin Trudeau's implementation or imposition of the carbon tax is something that we cannot allow to happen. He has said that even if provinces don't implement it, that he would impose one for them. The carbon tax doesn't save a single tree, it doesn't clean up any rivers, and it does not clean up the air that we breathe. What it does do is it makes it way more expensive for Canadians to heat their homes. That is an unfair tax, and again, not on my watch. That is something that we need to put a stop to. I also wanted to take a little bit of time to talk about Canada's seniors. So, many of the seniors that are here today and others that couldn't make it, they've literally lived through half of our country's history. They are the ones that built Canada into the country it is today, and they're the ones that are watching Justin Trudeau undo all their hard work. we cannot leave our seniors behind. My parents are seniors now. Paul and Linda, Mom and Dad, thank you very much for all your support in coming out. Both of them have fought for my brother and I their entire lives so that we didn't have to defend ourselves. They had our backs. And now it is our turn to return the favor. We have to make sure that we don't leave our seniors behind, that they don't crumble under a healthcare system that's overwhelmed, that they don't suffer abuse in seniors' homes. This is a very important issue, especially in Ottawa, West-Nepean, because we have so many seniors here, and it's going to be a very, very important priority of mine moving forward. Now, I know a lot of this stuff sounds bad, and it is bad, but all hope has not yet been lost. We can fight back, but to do that, we have to act now. We cannot wait. We can no longer afford to sit down and have our voices be silenced. We need to rise up, come together, and be heard. That is extremely important, and I've constantly said that we can never, ever have too many Conservatives in Canada. So my pledge to you and all, everybody here today, is that there is no Conservative left behind. If you're a Conservative, then you have a place in this party. And it may sound like a cliche, but it's lived on for a reason, because it's true. United we stand, and divided we fall. And so I challenge each and every one of you today to unite around a common cause. And that common cause is to give Justin Trudeau the pink slip that he deserves. So how are we going to do that? And the answer is simple. We're going to follow in Jeremy's wonderful example by conducting meaningful grassroots engagement. We will be knocking on doors as we have been for the past 6 months. I do this 7 days a week. For 8 hours a day I'm at doors, and then I'm engaging with community groups and events and all kinds of other things, and I will not stop until the Liberals have been driven out of town. That is my commitment. And you know something? That's the only way to do it. Going to people's doors and talking to them face to face. If you don't have the time, the effort, or the inclination to go and engage with people at their doors, then you have no business being in politics. That's not the approach we're going to take. We're going to engage you. I firmly believe that to represent you, I need to know you. I need to be able to hear your concerns. And you need somebody to call when you need help. And that is why my personal phone number is on every piece of literature I hand out. And I know some of you didn't believe me because you'd call me, and every time I answer the phone, I hear, oh, it's you. And, you know, I know that that's surprising because politicians don't typically do that. But like I said, I'm not your typical politician. So the time has now come for us to come together as one and declare in one loud, strong voice that this far and no farther, the line gets drawn here. Today is the day that we say that we're not going to take this anymore, and we're going to start pushing back. We're going to fight for our values. We're not going to be silenced, and we're going to make sure that we take this riding back. So join me, join Jeremy, help us, become a part of the mission, and let's take Ottawa West-Nepean and make it blue again. So thank you guys very much for coming. It's greatly appreciated. I look forward to seeing you and engaging with you in the future as time goes on. You'll be seeing me at your doors again. And for those who I haven't yet visited, I'll certainly be out there. And if any of you guys know anybody that wants to get behind us, please reach out and let us know, because we can't do this without you. It doesn't matter how big my voice is. If you guys aren't there, then there's nothing. So this is all about you. This is why we're here. So thank you guys very much for your time, and thank you all for your continued support.